you've got guys who are going to go out there and basically put it in their face and be like, put in a tackle on someone tonight, I'll see you in 2 minutes. Milner's there, Hendo's there, Fabinho's nasty, Robertson. That wasn't there against Madrid. No one did enforcement against Sergio Ramos. Someone should have been putting Sergio Ramos's jaw out of place after he did that to Salah, but no one touched him.
Yeah.
I don't mean in terms of like actually breaking his, you know what I'm saying? Although, but the point is, we had that in this game. Robbo there's no respect for Messi.
No. Talk to me about that moment, right? That's a big moment. Robertson's spoken about it around the years.
That's a welcome to Anfield moment. That's a case of we've not come here just to watch you do your little tricks and your flicks and do whatever you normally do in La Liga. This is you're basically playing a European game, but you're playing it on a Premier League pitch.
Right.
And this is how it's going to be. You know, there's always been those conversations about, could Messi, obviously he could, but could Messi do it on a wet night in Stoke? This was your welcome to Stoke City moment where I'm just going to give you a little push on the head to know that we've not come to mess around.
He messes with his hair. Like Messi
Messi looks around. You know, Messi looks around like, who done that? Like, how dare you? Like, I'm going to get you back.
But it's also because it's not as if it's two technical peers. So it's not like it's one guy who's going like, love you. You know, we're both in the same group. It's Robbo going, tonight, we are the same level. Yeah. Tonight, we're completely equal.
The word is rattle, right? They rattled them.
They did.
I wonder if that's almost a bit like the early 90s where you're allowed to get a naughty tackle in without getting a yellow card. Or someone says, take the yellow card because someone needs to get hit. It reminds me when Liverpool played Wimbledon.
Savvy.
FA Cup 88, 89. And Vinnie Jones, you weren't in, but Vinnie Jones hit Steve McMahon. Steve McMahon's our hard man. He's supposed to be the leader. Vinnie Jones says, you know what? No, I'm going to smash through you. And all of a sudden, Liverpool kind of whimper. Yeah. And that's almost a bit what Andy Robertson's done there by going to their best player, pushing him in the head, saying, not tonight, son.
Stay down.
By the way, the game's halfway down the field because Messi was tackled, I think, wanted the foul, and then the ball's already gone.
And Robertson's running past him and just like...
Referee's looking the other way, and it's sort of like... I also think there was obviously the perception, maybe it doesn't happen so much now with Barcelona, that everything goes Barcelona's way in Europe. Yeah. So if you're reminding them tonight, you know, the ref's not on your side, or it's that feeling... I think all of that tips the scales in our direction.
Conor Bradley did that, remember, to Mbappe?
Twice.
Yeah, he did
this
exactly
season and last.
The same thing. It's almost like, again, welcome to the Premier League. And they don't like that. We've got to show, you know, sometimes when you try and play these European giants who are clearly better footballers technically than you've got to do it another way. There are more than one ways to skin a cat. And that's what Klopp was always good at. That's why those Man City versus Liverpool games were so beautiful, because you had Man City who played this technically beautiful game, and Liverpool was just 100 miles per hour.
That's why Pep hated it.
That's why he hated it.
He couldn't
and that's why that Klopp, Anfield, under the lights was always perfect for those type of games.
We get to halftime, and only 1-0, but clearly something is happening. I think the entire stadium can feel it. I think even the Barca players can feel it. And I don't know if you guys have seen the footage, but the halftime dressing room for Barcelona is like a funeral. And it's weird because you're only down 1-0. You're winning 3-1. There's 45 minutes left to play. You've had chances. But that's why I use the word rattle. I think Liverpool rattled Barcelona. And I think the defining image is Jordi Alba.
Yeah.
Almost on the verge of tears because, I mean, the first goal is really his mistake. And I think he's just at 6s and 7s the entire game. But
it's interesting about the halftime with Barca is they've got two former Liverpool players in there.
And you would think they would know. Yeah,
it's almost like, I know they're not those type of players. I don't look at Coutinho as being vocal or Suarez to an extent either, but they've got two players that understand what this is going to be.
You would think they would have warned them ahead of
time. Very easy, right? It's a conversation. Like, guys, I'm telling you now, when we go back there, this is going to be crazy. And it's almost like they didn't expect it.
Both of them have witnessed, I think they came from a different era where both of them have witnessed, I mean, maybe Coutinho at a push had witnessed this. I think he witnessed the beginning of it. Coutinho wanted out. Yeah. And Klopp said to him, if you want out, remember, you're going to go somewhere else and you'll be a footnote. You'll stay here and you get a statue. And the same with Suarez. Suarez, a witness to Anfield, actually, that didn't work for him.
No.
So I think he's going in there, and I think they're underestimating what's happening. And then Jordi Alba's crying because he's basically got a trifecta of the worst players to be up against. Trent can just hang out crosses. Mane is a nightmare to play against. Like, he's literally the worst player to come up against any player that season. And then on top of that, Hendo is just on the inside between the centre-back and him as a fullback. So it's horrible. His experience must just basically be you're always looking around and you're just disoriented. I think that is something you won't have had that very regularly in this Barcelona team.
If we're being honest, and obviously footballers are supposed to think it's 0-0, you know, that's what they say, right? The second leg, it's 0-0 still. They're 3-0 up. this is a great Barcelona side that are 3-0 up, and they're probably thinking, it's done.
No, but you have to remember with this Barca team, the year before, they had beaten Roma in the first leg, and the same thing had happened to them in the second leg where they lost. I think they won first like 4-1. They lose the next like 3-0 out on away goals, and it's that Manolas goal at the end. I almost feel like it's like deja vu is happening again.
Yeah.
Although it's only 1-0, it's like, are we going to bottle this again? And I think this is what defines this Barca team, who are kind of forgotten now. But let's remember that in the midst of Real Madrid's three-peat of the Champions League, these guys won the league twice in that period. So they were a very good team. But I always felt mentally is where they start to crumble in Europe. Like the Xavis and Iniestas and Puyols never seemed to really drop their heads. But this Barca team, it did feel like you could get at them mentally. And I think that's what happened this game.
I agree.
Yeah. It's weird because when we think of Barca, you automatically obviously think of Messi. I always think of Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets as the Barca team as well. And as soon as that got split up, and they were trying to find the next Xavi, the next Iniesta, they're almost trying to find sort of missing pieces of the puzzle, and they never got it in that midfield. And that midfield for them was so strong and just the best midfield we've ever seen.
Yeah,
Rakitic is a good player, you're right,
he's
but
not
he's
Xavi.
not Xavi.
But the problem is they never got the other piece.
Iniesta.
So you got,
I think Coutinho was brought in really to be the replacement, but I think they quickly learned Coutinho's much more of an attacker, and Iniesta just had this quality to him. Oh my goodness! But let's talk the halftime for Liverpool, right? Because I think the player that always gets maybe overlooked in this game, even though he had the biggest impact, is Wijnaldum, right? I think we talk about the Trent assist, we talk about Origi,
I love
but
him.
Gini Wijnaldum, I mean, he's spoken about how infuriated he was to be left out of this game.
Yeah.
And you talk about a guy playing with a chip on his shoulder. That's Wijnaldum coming into the second half, right?
And also, by the way, he hadn't ever really played that position really for Liverpool.
No.
And for Newcastle, he always had, right? He was the goal scorer in that team.
He
was 10 when he arrived
We
at
bought him as a goal scoring midfielder.
Yeah.
Like
he scored 4 against Norwich.
Yeah, he scored 11 in that season that we bought him.
Yeah.
Which, as a midfielder nowadays, I mean, you're talking Ballon d'Or conversations, right? I mean, Declan Rice, right? That's what we bought him as. So he's always been capable of doing that.
Yeah.
But I think people forget about that game. Like me watching it back, I almost forgot that. I was like, when Wijnaldum came on, who did he come off for? I mean, who did he come on for? And I just forget that Andy Robertson came off, not because he was injured, because Klopp was like, okay, we need to change something up. That's an incredible. Like, everyone talks about what Rafa did 04-05 with Dietmar Hamann coming on. This is as impactful.
100%.
Like Robertson coming off and Wijnaldum coming on, and the impact he had immediately needs to be studied a bit more.
I love Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum literally said, they were talking to me at halftime, these are your instructions. It all went out, went in one ear, out the other. Like he said, I completely ignored the tactical instruction. In fact, the goals that he scores, the late runs into the box, I wouldn't be surprised if that's all his own. That's just a good player in that moment saying, forget all the noise, I'm just going to do what I think is the best decision in this set.